Welcome to Evolution Revolution. My name is Susan Allan, and I am thrilled to have you with us today. And as you know, if you've watched the show before, the purpose of Evolution Revolution is to introduce you to breakthroughs in either the human potential movement or some discovery, some invention, something that is going to make your life more peaceful, more joyous, more healthy, or just longer. And so every show we have either a person or a group of people who have discovered something remarkable, truly remarkable. And as you know, the reason that I'm doing this as well is I'm the founder of Heartspace and the Marriage Forum. And I teach different communication skills because it's all about relationships, it's all about communication. And I offer a 1-hour free telephone session to anyone, anywhere in the world, so they can see if these skills will allow greater peace, prevent misery, suffering, including addiction, divorce if you want to prevent it, etc. So please don't hesitate. Send me an email or call me and let me know if I can help. So today's show is really about as important a show as we have ever done. And it is a show about healthy water and how to have healthy water in your home, everywhere in your home. And what's really important is, as I speak to people about water, which I've been doing ever since I met our guests, I find that everybody is confused, and I've been really confused too. There are solutions that we think are going to work, and they, as you'll find out today, they don't really work, or solutions that we think are affordable, and then you'll find out today, while this is a better solution, it's a viable solution, and it's a fraction of the cost of a lot of the others. And, you know, some people are just drinking tap water because they've just felt the whole thing's hopeless. It's too complicated, they don't know what to do, so they're not going to do anything. Or then there's the lugging heavy bottles of, you know, Crystal Geyser home from the grocery store and ending up at the chiropractor. So there are 1,000 things that don't work. Today's show, you're going to be introduced to 2 people and a company that does what really does work. Okay, so the first guest from Perfect Water Worldwide is Ken Guyan, and it's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Susan. Thank you.
Yes, and this is really interesting because he patented his first water improvement system in 1979 when he was a kid. And after spending over 3 decades in the water technology field, he founded Perfect Water Worldwide, and since then he's been dedicating himself to producing state-of-the-art water improvement systems. And truly, not only state-of-the-art, but extraordinary and absolutely unique.
Yes.
So really thrilling. And Kristen Brown is here as well. And it's wonderful to have you here, Kristen.
Thank you, Susan.
Yes, and she is a passionate advocate of health water. She's been researching healthy solutions to compromised food and source water for decades. And at Perfect Water Worldwide, she focuses on health, sustainability, and the environment. So my first question is for you, Ken. There is so much confusion about safe water. What is it?
Well, you know, Susan, the fact is that the municipalities would tell you that drinking tap water is healthy and that's what we should all be doing. But the reality is the municipalities just can't take care of the source water anymore. And even if they could, the waterways that the water travels in just are so old and decrepit, there's just a lot of heavy metals in the water. So
and like rusty pipes.
Rusty pipes, and even if the water was perfect, by the time it reached your home, it would be just polluted. So it's really up to consumers today to address this issue on their own and produce their own healthy water.
It makes sense. And I have to tell you, this water, which is their water, is incredible. This water tastes completely different. It's really amazing. You know, I mean, I was hoping it would taste good. You know, I mean, I was hoping it didn't taste bad, you know, but it's fabulous. I mean, it's like a beverage.
Yes.
It tastes so good. It's like something that you would choose to drink. You would, you know, order this instead of, you know,
It's one of the reasons people aren't drinking a lot of water today is that the water just doesn't taste very well, very good.
So tell us, where we can find healthy water, which is obviously perfect water worldwide. So tell us about it.
Well, where it all started, if you go back before the Industrial Revolution and when it gone to any high elevation, fast moving river or stream, you would have found, and tested that water, you would have found it was pure, it would have been alkaline, it would have been antioxidant from tumbling over the rocks, would have had a negative charge on it. And that's really, truly healthy water, and that's what we're producing. That's what our equipment produces. Our machines produce this water the way nature intended.
Wow. And so is it just drinking water we have to be so careful about?
Well, actually, it's drinking, bathing, and showering because a majority of the pollutants we come in contact with every day is actually standing in the shower because our skin is our largest organ, and when we're showering and bathing, we're absorbing any toxins that are in that water. And even worse than that, we're inhaling those very same toxins. So it's really important that you address showering and bathing as well as drinking water.
Okay, thank you. And Kristen, what about those inexpensive pitcher water filter systems? I just was filling one up for my family when I was in Florida, and my stepfather is 96 years old, and his current wife has one of those, and so he can't pick it up because he's 96. She really couldn't pick it up because she just pulled her back, and I'm thinking, what do they do when I go home? This is crazy.
Yeah. And it's sad because you want it to be able to filter water. For $60, you want a bargain. But the problem is to filter water, to clean water, to restore water to its natural state of purity, it's not cheap. You can't do it with a pitcher. You can take about 20% of the chlorine out, so the water will taste a little better, but it'll still have all the arsenic, the lead, the aluminum, all the things you really don't want to be taking into your body. And interestingly, we know this about food. We know we're looking for organic food. A lot of us spend the money and buy it. But we haven't yet realized there's organic water. And we're looking for water now to be ultra pure. If you use an RO system, which is the most common system,
and that stands for?
Reverse osmosis. And reverse osmosis is cheap. I mean, you can pick up in any kind of hardware store, you can get a $200 system, install it right at your sink, and it'll take out about 80% of the heavy metals. It doesn't touch the pesticides, it can't go near the pharmaceuticals, and the biggest problem for me with reverse osmosis water is that it wastes over half of the water it filters because it pushes it through a membrane, and the membrane's foul. So this is a very old 60-year-old technology. We can do a lot better.
Thank you. I think I'm really starting to understand what you're talking about because obviously this is a new field for me. Yes. So then, Ken, what does your system, which is a great system, what does a really good system like this do?
Well, really what it comes down to is mechanical filtration. You have to have large enough filters to remove the pollutants, and that's the big issue with most of the products that are sold in the marketplace. A lot of people have these small filters that just slip right over the faucet, and the water simply doesn't have enough contact time with the filter media to remove much of anything. It's a common fact in the water improvement industry that if you remove 20% of the chlorine, you can improve the taste of the water to make it palatable. And so that's about all that most systems remove. You need a significant size filter, and you need at least 3 or 4 of them to remove all the pollutants from the water. One filter isn't going to do it. So.
And that's why this system has a number of these in it?
Yeah, this system actually is our most popular selling system. It'll fit on the counter or underneath the counter, and it actually has 4 different filters inside the unit. Plus, we actually install a very robust filter prior to it even going into the unit. And this is primarily to remove the heavy metals from the water, which is the most prevalent that's in all of our source water supplies today. The plumbing lines, we've been reading stories in LA, it seems like a plumbing line is blowing up there almost every day. Mm-hmm. And those plumbing lines are over 60, 70, some of them 80 years old. And wow. You can imagine how much rust and pollutants are in those plumbing lines.
So this is the system for the whole home.
Now, this system is what we call, this is a point of use system. This is
Okay.
designed, when we talk point of use, that's a common terminology in the water improvement industry. When we're talking point of use, that means you're going to the source. You're going to your kitchen sink to get this perfect water. We do offer whole home systems that treat all the water, but a
Okay,
point of
got
use system is like a shower or drinking water.
Okay, I understand, thank you. And then do you want to talk about the expense of this, Kristen?
Yes, because this is our best-selling system. I like this system so much because it gives you the spring taste that you're looking for in water. It gives you that fresh spring taste, but it purifies the water. It micro-purifies it, and that's what you're looking for. You're trying to not take toxins into your body because we already have enough toxins in the air and in our food and in our water that the more you can remove, the better. So for $995, you can buy this system, have it put under your counter with a lead-free faucet that comes up in your kitchen, and then it is wonderful because you're drinking this water all the time and you'll find you're hydrated. So the added benefits, plus you can do it over time. We have a 12-month zero-interest program that you can pay like $80-some a month, and there's your system.
And also you said you don't have to replace this.
No, this lasts a lifetime. I mean,
Which is
these are
fabulous. That's really
well-built
fabulous.
systems. Yes, and you change, once a year you change the filters. There's 4 filters, they're $40 a filter, and you do a change out once a year.
That's wonderful. Okay,
Really
thank you. Now then there's also a whole home system.
Yes.
So describe that.
Well, the whole home systems is really my passion because I really strongly believe that you need to treat all the water from every spigot throughout your entire home. And with our whole home systems, we have 4 different models. They're designed where we actually cut the plumbing line coming into your house, we plumb it into our system, and then that goes into your home. So literally, every faucet, every spigot in your house has perfect water flowing through it. And as a matter of fact, if you have a dog that drinks out of the toilet, he's going to be drinking perfect water. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
now you also have systems for pools and spas.
yes, in fact,
Tell us about
my very first patent out of college, I've been in the water improvement industry a little over 35 years, was a chlorine-free system. And it still is today the only 100% chlorine-free swimming pool and spa system available in the marketplace. It's called the BioFresh system. It's like all of our systems, it's totally self-contained and pre-plumbed. We deliver it, make 2 hookups, and it's ready to go. So it gives you, we're all about drinking, bathing, showering, and swimming. You want pure water no matter where you're using it.
Okay, now I just noticed that our director needs to put the automatic timer on. So I have an idea of how many minutes we have more for the show. Thank you so much, Mark. So, bottled water, Kristen.
Yes, and before I do that, can I ask Ken to just talk about the
Sure.
shower, because
Sure,
it's
great
very
idea.
important.
Okay, well, this is, again, a point-of-use shower, and this is designed where you actually just unscrew your shower cap, and this screws right in. Of course, it's adjustable, and this has a very robust filter, and this lasts about 4 months. This filter actually fits right in here, and
this is the dirty one.
that's the dirty one. It shows you what the difference is between the two, and this is what you're wearing every day if you're not filtering your shower water. So, these are our 2 point-of-use systems for drinking and for showering and bathing.
Wow, thank you. It's great.
Yes.
So
And
now tell us about what's wrong with bottled water.
Exactly.
For everybody listening who thinks this is still a way to go, aside from the fact that it's so much more expensive, and Kristen's going to explain that too.
Yeah, $6.40 a gallon versus if you buy a system, 10 cents a gallon. So bottled water, the pure fact is it's in plastic, so it's leaching as we know, and it's also making, I don't know if you've ever seen Trash Island that's floating in the Pacific,
Sure.
but it's twice the size of the state of Texas. It's huge waste because plastic is forever. It doesn't degrade. So what we do is we recommend that people look at the cost of bottled water and then look at the National Resources Defense Council research. They took 1,000 bottles of water from 103 different companies, and they tested them against tap water. And amazingly enough, a third of those bottles of water that people were purchasing were more contaminated than tap water. So this is a big industry. There's a lot of money made on plastic bottled water, and they would like you to believe, the water bottlers, that you're getting healthy water. But the truth is, this is what we would call acidic water. It is not alkaline, it's not ionized, and worse is it's also no minerals. It's completely demineralized. So if you're looking for water for health, I would look farther than bottled water.
Perfect, and that takes us to the question about alkaline water, which we hear, Ken, that it's so important, but yet, I mean, I almost bought a water system, and then I found that strange white powder in the bottom of the glass that my friend, she had just spent a fortune on the system, and I thought, well, you know, I was just rescued. I was saved at the last minute before I bought this.
Yes, you know, it's not just about purifying the water. As I mentioned earlier, water, the way nature intended, was to be richly mineralized. We're all mineral deficient today. Most people realize that our food, our soil is depleted of minerals. Ideally, we used to get half of our minerals from food and half from the water. Well, the food doesn't have many minerals in it anymore, and of course our water, if it's filtered through a reverse osmosis or you're drinking bottled water, there's no minerals in that water as well. And when there's no minerals, it makes the water acidic. So, you know, what we do and what really makes us different is that once we purify the water, and of course you always have to start with pure water, is we richly remineralize it, and that brings the alkalinity up. Ideally, we want the alkalinity between 8.5 and 9.5, and most water today is below 7. When we're born neutral. It's 7.0, and you know, when you go below that, there's a lot of health issues that can come up down the road. A lot of autoimmune diseases and cancers. So you want alkaline, you want pure alkaline, mineral-rich water, and that's healthy water.
Okay, thank you. And I don't know, was there anything else that you wanted to share about
Yes,
alkaline water?
I also want to say that you can get alkaline water in a bottle now. You can buy it. It's very expensive. And you can also get water that mineral has been added in a bottled water. They also charge more for that. But you can't get bottled water that has antioxidants. And antioxidants, to me, are the most important issue in water.
That's right. Well, that's the
For
most
health.
important issue in life.
Exactly.
Because every single disease is caused by free radicals. And free radicals are oxygen molecules that are missing one electron. And I was so thrilled that these guys know what I'm talking about, and they were thrilled that I knew what they were talking about. Tell them more.
Okay.
Tell them more.
So what happens is the ionization process that this amazing 995 machine actually makes water that tumbles over tourmaline and other little rocks. It mimics nature because we can't go back. You and I can't afford to fly to the Himalayas and go to a high mountain stream to drink really good water. But we can, the technology is here to actually create this water in our own homes. So what the ionization process does is it shrinks the water molecule. Remember, it's vortexing water. If you're out in nature, you're watching it go over a high mountain stream. It's tumbling. It loves to vortex. If you go to the ocean, you'll see the same thing. The water is tumbling, churning. The tides are taking it in and out. That's why you like to walk on the beach. You're picking up negative ions from the water. Well, you do the same thing when you drink the water. You get negative ions. Now, these negative ions, as Susan said, they have an electron to donate. Free radicals are molecules that are very dangerous because they cause disease and premature aging.
And what most people don't realize is they're just damaged oxygen molecules. So it's not like a free radical is some frightening, scary thing from a, you don't know where it came from. It's an oxygen molecule that's been damaged, many different ways that happens. But the fact that your water now
is
rebalances
donating
that is incredible.
antioxidants.
That's incredible.
It is, and so, and if unfortunately, if the free radicals will scavenger molecules, and and that is what makes them dangerous. If you donate the electron, there's nothing for them, they're neutralized. There's nothing for them to scavenger for, and they will not attack healthy tissues. So I know when I started drinking alkaline water, and I was feeling hydrated because it was actually penetrating my cells, I felt so different. Now I don't drink anything but water. And I used to drink so much juice, it was amazing. But I don't crave juice. I crave water because how it makes me feel. And I get a lot more energy from water, and I drink it all day long. But I also am detoxifying.
It's really delicious. I mean,
Yeah,
it is
and it
really good.
tastes
This is like
better
my
than-
second cup since we got here today. It's really amazing. Now, I am amazed by what you're describing about your filters, because the idea that you could put a filter this size into a shower and that it would last for 4 months, you know, you might think that the filters in those pictures are not so much bigger, or the filters on the faucet are not so much bigger, but I realized that the whole issue here is what the filters are made of, because Ken was explaining this to me before we went on the air. So would you explain this
Sure.
in a way that
Yes.
the layman can understand?
Well, it's actually, it's called filter media. It's the material that actually does the filtration. We can filter anything out of the water today. In fact, before we build all of our whole home systems that we build and ship all over the world, before we actually build those, we do a water test. We're building one now for a couple in New Orleans. So we go online, we pull a local water test, and we find out exactly what's in their water, because we can customize the media to remove what's ever in that water.
What do you mean?
Well, for instance, in Argentina, they have a lot of problems with radon, and we can actually, we have a media that will remove radon. So we actually
Wow.
fill our cartridges with that radon media. So we customize all of our cartridges
That's amazing.
to remove what's specifically in your water.
Wow.
This system, what we sell in Santa Barbara, is designed to remove the pollutants that we know is in the Santa Barbara city water.
So then, do you have a different one for Chicago and a different one for Washington,
As a matter of fact,
DC and
as
all
a matter
this?
of fact, yes. I mean,
Wow.
we're building a system right now for a couple in Chicago, and we pulled a report, and we discovered that they have a serious issue with fluoride in their water. They add fluoride, unfortunately,
yes.
and fluoride is very dangerous.
Yes.
It's also very difficult to remove. But we have a German filter media that will remove fluoride. So we actually put that
Amazing.
media in the cartridge. And we can mix medias. There's 2 different medias here that you can see, but we can actually put 2 or 3 or 4 different medias in a cartridge. So we customize all our cartridges with different medias to address the specific issue with the water. And it's interesting because the Germans are ahead of the curve when it comes to filter medias. And all of our filter medias come directly from Germany. A lot of people are amused by this, but you can buy different filter medias, of course, from China. And we've analyzed those filter medias, and it's, you know, like they're carbon. We don't know what it is. It's not carbon. So,
How interesting.
so where you buy your media is very important.
And the legitimacy of the
And
labeling.
Yes, for
Okay,
sure.
I got
Yeah.
it. Very, very interesting. So now, sorry, yes.
I would like to add to the legitimacy of the carbon, because the carbon that we use is organic, and it's coconut shell carbon. So it's completely natural. What you're getting in one of those pitcher filters, you're getting
Who
a
knows?
coal, a petroleum-based carbon, and that's what you're filtering your water through.
In the pictures. Wow.
Yeah, most carbon out there, they tell you we're giving you a big tank of carbon filter. Yeah, they're giving you a petroleum-based coal carbon.
Which is the last thing you want.
Exactly.
Anywhere
To
near
be
your
putting
body
it,
or
adding to your water.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
got it. So talk to me then about minerals. So I mean, I spend a fortune on supplements.
Yes.
So talk to me about
Well,
that.
one of the reasons that you're enjoying this water so much is the last process in all of our systems, in fact, the last cartridge in this system is what we call a restructuring cartridge. And in that cartridge is we have what we call ceramics. And those ceramics have all the trace minerals in them. So as the water passes over those ceramics, it's absorbing those minerals. And so our water is richly remineralized, and that's what really gives water taste. You know, the reverse osmosis in the bottled water, because there is no minerals in it, it's void, and there's no taste involved with it.
Like distilled water also.
Like distilled water,
Which is
yes.
just like dead water.
And it's actually, you know, that water is dangerous water because, particularly, a lot of people drink distilled water thinking it's healthy water. And, you know, water in its purest form will absorb anything it comes in contact with. In particular, for women, it's dangerous with osteoporosis because distilled water will actually draw the calcium right out of your bones. So it's dangerous water. So,
And I actually learned that, and that was the last day I drank distilled water.
yes.
Although if you're detoxifying, that's different.
Yeah.
If you're on a detox program,
Yeah.
you can drink distilled water.
Sure. But it's the minerals that really give the water taste.
Okay, now, Kristen, talk to us about hexagonal water, which is a term I didn't know, which is microclustered water. And I do know that there's a huge difference in the quality of this water, which is obviously hexagonal and microclustered,
Yes.
and the absorption in your body.
That's right.
It has something to do with absorption. Okay, that's all I know though, so tell me
And
everything
we
else.
were just talking about minerals, and you want your body to be able to absorb the calcium that's in the water. You want it to absorb the magnesium, the potassium, and we're restructuring, so we're adding the correct balance of these minerals to the water. But is the water getting into your cells? Well, there was no research on this until about 2003 when two scientists won the Nobel Prize for what we call aquaporin. This is a name they coined to mean this is water that penetrates the cells. And what they proved is that water that has been ionized, it is microclustered. So the clusters are 5 or 6, which is why we call it hexagonal water, because there might be 6 molecules in a cluster. And they're mainly 6 molecules. Normal water, or what we would call tap water, has 15 to 25 clusters. So these clusters cannot penetrate your cell. They don't truly hydrate you. The hydration comes from the smaller clustered water that gives you that hydration, and then that is what we would call healthy water. That is what makes you feel good, because it's not only oxygen rich, it's hydrogen rich.
Very, very interesting. Thank you. And I just know, and I'm going to be just very practical about this. The thing about drinking a lot of water that a lot of women find really interesting and annoying at the same time is you drink it and then you have to get rid of it. And you drink it and you have to get rid of it. The difference with hexagonal water is that your body is absorbing it in a very different rate. And you try this, not only is it delicious, but you're going to find that you have a different experience. So, water that's wasted through these other filtration systems is not wasted with you. So people who are paying for their water, if they either own their own home or they're renting and they have a water cost, that is another huge factor. So would you explain why your system it just eliminates that problem altogether?
Well, again, the most prevalent technology is our 60-year-old technology called reverse osmosis. And strangely enough, it's interesting, the plumbing industry kind of drives the water improvement industry. And plumbers, I mean, they do a great job in terms of, you know, getting rid of our waste and providing us with drinking water. But in terms of
But not drinking water you want to drink.
Not drinking water you want to drink, but they're not. They avoid new technologies. We don't like wasting water. The very best reverse osmosis systems, for every gallon of water they make, a gallon goes down the drain. And our systems use a new technology called ultrafiltration, and that nanofilters the water similar to reverse osmosis, but there's no wastewater produced with it. And it also leaves the good minerals in. Reverse osmosis removes everything, including the good minerals. That's why it's dead acidic water. And that's why people today most people have reverse osmosis. They're drinking that water. It's dead acidic water, and they're mineral deficient. So our systems use a new technology. It's called UF, ultrafiltration. It's about a year old, a couple of years old, and it produces no wastewater. And we use that on all of our systems.
I don't yet understand this whole waste or not waste in the process of purification. Could you explain it maybe
Sure.
for the novice? The
Yes,
layman?
so how reverse osmosis works and is that there's a membrane that the water, it's a very fine membrane. The water's actually forced under pressure through this membrane. So as the water is forced under pressure, part of it's being filtered and the other part is going down the drain. So 50% on a good day is being filtered and the rest is going down the drain. It can't all penetrate that membrane. So it just produces just a lot of wastewater. In our system, with our ultrafiltration system, all the water is going through the filter of the media cartridges, not down the drain.
I'm getting closer to understanding.
Okay,
And as if you're watching the show, so rewind and listen to that a second time. It's like when you go to YouTube and you want to understand how to do something on your computer and you don't want to tell your IT guy that what he said made no sense at all. So the smart move is you just listen to the video a couple of times. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch the show again and I'm going to get it. I'm really going to get it this time. Okay, thank you. Now, sustainability. I know you're an expert on sustainability.
I'm totally committed to
Yes.
sustainability.
Fantastic.
But I also want to say that we have so many pollutants and contaminants in our water that Environmental Protection Agency in California alone has 23 pages of contaminants. And it is shocking when you start going online and reading them because there are so many that are cancer causing. And in our Santa Barbara water report, we test for 23 contaminants. Now, 23 versus 23 pages, you're missing a lot of information. But it is understandable because the municipal water system's job is not to provide you with healthy water. Their mandate is to keep you free from waterborne disease. And they're doing a good job of that. We haven't had any boiler alerts around Santa Barbara or in California so much.
And maybe you want to tell them what a boiler alert is.
That is when you have to boil your water because there is a bacteria or a virus in your water and it's dangerous to drink. So we are they are doing a good job of keeping this water clean, but the contaminant levels are out of control now. And that's why we're looking for sustainable alternatives, not the waste that is produced by plastic bottles, because right there, that is frightening what we're doing to our environment. But what we're looking to produce now, water that's pure, and our systems are built so that we have some really interesting systems. Like we have a portable water filling station. And that was designed because one of our clients is a rock star, and he would do these concerts in these arenas. After the concert, he'd look out and he'd see thousands of plastic bottles just littering the bottom of the arena, all through the stairs, everywhere. And he said, there's got to be a better way. So now they can take these water filling stations on sets. We can do them for venues. And we're also able to provide water on boats, which I think is very sustainable.
Wonderful.
It's great because there they have the ocean.
Right.
And so that's a desal plant.
Right.
So now, but we have done what is called
Sea Fresh.
Sea Fresh. This is a pretty new system
We've
for
developed a lot of new
perfect
systems.
water. But the Sea Fresh just takes the salt water and it converts it to fresh water. And it does it all right on the boat. And it uses reverse osmosis, which is not a system that we're in favor of, but you're not wasting any water because it's going right back into the ocean. And it's salinated again. So it's just that the principles of non-waste and the principles of non-waste of plastic and non-pollution are so important to all of us to have a healthy planet and a healthy environment.
Thank you. And I know you also have something for traveling. So what do you
Yeah,
do for
so
traveling?
you know
have
our
a bunch of things.
our systems are designed so instead of buying plastic bottled water, you can produce your own water at home for less than 10 cents a gallon. Carry it around in either a stainless steel bottle or a glass bottle. It's really your only two choices.
But that's like if you're going someplace by car and
Yeah.
you're coming home.
Yes,
But
but
then-
for traveling, so what we want to do when we travel, when I travel, I just got back from China, and of course you can buy bottled water, which is dead acidic water, but what we have is called a BioStick, and this lasts an entire year. This has the same ceramics that our other systems do, our point-of-use systems, and you simply drop this into any either stainless steel or glass bottle, add bottled water, any kind of purified water, and within 10 minutes you have restructured water. And again, restructured water, what we're talking about is water that's ionized, has a negative charge on it, water that's remineralized, and water that's alkaline.
How long do you have to leave it?
10 minutes, just put this in a bottle.
So if I went to a restaurant and
Yes.
they had like a glass mug,
Yeah,
and I had this in my handbag,
yes,
and you know I didn't want to buy some bottled water, which I now know is junk anyway,
yeah.
then I could just put this in there and wait, and after a while,
In less than 10 minutes, you're going to have richly remineralized, restructured water. And that lasts an entire year. So that's for
That's
traveling.
crazy.
So when you're out and about and you want to continue, I won't drink
That's amazing.
water. I won't
no,
drink
of
any
course
other
not,
water.
Of course not. And what is the cost of this?
That is $49. It'll last an entire
so
year.
anybody can buy this,
Yes.
and it lasts a year, and then you replace the filter.
What we actually do is we have you, we mail that back to us, and we give you a discount on the next one you purchase from us.
Okay.
So we
that's
recycle
fantastic. Wow. So $49 a year. Wow. I mean, that's incredible.
it. Yeah. So you always have
That's
perfect water.
amazing. Huh. Okay. So then there was something you were
and I wanna
spraying too. What were you spraying, Ken?
Well, actually, this is a new product as well. And what this is, I don't know if it's kind of hard to see, but this is actually pure silver. It's 99.99% pure silver and tourmaline. And this is a sanitizer. In fact, it's a well-known fact that silver is a very, very powerful sanitizer. In fact, I was telling somebody a story earlier this week. Back in the days of Columbus, when they had barrels of water, they used to throw silver coins in those barrels, and that would actually keep the water pure. It would keep it from developing any type of bacteria. So this is basically for sanitizing while you're on the road or traveling, and it's also, you spray it in your throat, and I don't get sick anymore. I don't get colds, and for airplanes and whatever. But
Wow.
this is,
So it's a sanitizer instead of all the chemicals that
yes,
people use all
yeah.
the
This
time.
is completely organic. Everything that we
Wow.
do is organic, and that's really what it's all about. No chemicals.
Okay, so now let's see. We have almost 20 minutes. So what would you recommend? And this could be anywhere because this show goes everywhere. You know, on YouTube, people all over the world see it. So if they tell you where they live, then you can figure out what they need for their specific area in the
Yes.
world. Okay. Then you are able to provide this system,
Yes.
and you're able to provide it in any city in the United States and certain countries, whatever, with whatever the cost of shipping, et cetera, et cetera. And are there places where you just can't purify the water? Like, I used to live in India. So the water in India is just frightening. You know, it's got sewage in it, or it's got, you know, cholera, or whatever it
Yes.
might be.
You know, I'm really happy to say that we can purify. Literally, we have machines you could hook up. You could hook them up to a cow pond and have perfect water coming out the other end of it. Today, filter medias exist. We can pull any pollutant out of the water. We just need to know what it is. And in the United States, we can go online and pull up any municipal water report in the entire country. Every municipality is required by law to provide that every year. So in the United States, it's easy to do, and in a lot of countries, we can even do it. I just recently pulled up a water report for down in Baja. Even in Mexico, we were able to do that, and they have some pretty interesting pollutants
Wow.
in their water.
Wow.
So you know, the important thing is to know what we need to remove, because one system, one filtration, doesn't take care of it.
Right,
You need to
right.
know what you need to go after, and that's important. And so we can remove anything from the water if we know what it is.
So even if, let's say, you're going talk to someone in India, and it's the city of Jaipur, let's
Yes.
say. You know, and even if there's not a list already of what their problems are, obviously you can test the water.
Well,
so then you find out what's wrong.
Yes, and in fact, in that case, in a lot of cases, we run into that quite frequently. We ask the client to send us a sample of the water.
Mm-hmm.
We use the same national testing lab as the EPA, and we're sending water test kit into them on a weekly basis, and we get a very detailed report of what's in that water. We really need to know what's in the water, and that's the right thing to do, because one size doesn't fit all.
And normally, like in Santa Barbara, a city of the size of Santa Barbara, it's not New York City, for example.
Right.
But would you say it's pretty much the same throughout Santa Barbara or the same throughout Chicago? Or is it something they need to test depending on where they live?
Well, you know, the big issue, honestly, is, you know, Santa Barbara does really an excellent job of purifying the water. In fact, we have a new plant that has an ozone, they're using ozone gas, a technology that we use in all of our systems.
But you knew there's a but coming.
But what happens is it's the waterways, it's the plumbing, it's the pipes that by the time the water, if we had one of our systems that was producing the perfect water at the municipality, by the time it travels through all the old plumbing and reaches your home, it's full of a lot of bad stuff, particularly heavy metals. And we all know every day, when I pick up the LA Times, it seems like every time I pick up the paper, there's a plumbing leak in LA and thousands of gallons of water is being, leaked. And
so let me just
old
make sure
pipes.
I understand. I remember spending a fortune on copper pipes when I lived in Studio City. I mean, a frightening amount of money.
Yes.
To replace all the pipes in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I presume there's a problem with the copper.
Actually, no, there isn't. Copper is actually
Okay.
still the best material.
Okay, good. So
Okay, yes. Yeah.
sadly, my former husband lives there, but enjoy it. Be well.
Yeah.
Now, then there's the city pipes, which are rusty, and then there are plastic pipes as well.
Yes.
So talk
Yeah.
about each of those to people.
Well, plastic, as Kristen was explaining earlier, plastic leaches really a lot of really harmful chemicals into the water. There's German studies now that have explained in depth that a lot of the autoimmune diseases that we're experiencing today is from the chemicals that are in plastic that's leaching into the water. So plastic isn't good, and the old rusty metal pipes, I've seen plumbing pipes that are cut when people are remodeling homes, and they're an inch and a half big when they start out, and they have that much space in them.
Yes.
They're full of all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
bad things. So.
And this is really the only way to be able to have this quality of water and also have it in a way that's affordable.
Yes.
Because it's, obviously it's got to be both. It has to be alkaline, it has to be hexagonal, but it also has to be affordable. What else do either of you think the public should know?
I think you should be very aware of the size of the filter media and the amount of time it sits on the filter media to make sure you're getting pure water. But
And that, like 4 of these are in there.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is really important.
And then to me, the medical benefits of water is what I get very excited about, because this little bio stick, if you will. Now I don't have any medical support for this, but I have many friends who will not travel without the stick because their system gets sluggish when they travel and they're not regular in their elimination. But when they have the bio stick and they have alkaline water, they are.
Wow.
So there's so many benefits. Now the studies that I've seen are there was a study done on liver tumors, a double-blind study in PubMed. You can find the study, and it shows that people who are being treated with chemo for liver tumors have a much higher quality of life, QOL they call it, just because this was a double-blind study, so it was only because they were drinking alkaline water.
Wow.
And then the American Diabetes Society came out with a report saying that alkaline water has a profound effect on type 2 diabetes. And PubMed just recently, I read a study that interested me because they haven't had any cure for acid reflux other than the things that you see them selling on TV.
Every
But-
5 minutes.
Yes, there's a lot of acid reflux commercials.
Right.
But the truth is, if you drink alkaline water, you don't have acid reflux. And what
Wow.
an interesting study that is for people.
And speaking of science, when I was driving here, I was listening to NPR, and they were confirming that it's now safe to drink coffee.
Yes.
So
Yes,
imagine drinking coffee made with this water.
it's a whole different.
I'm taking that water home since you said I could. I'm making a cup of coffee because I have to be back in the studio in 2 hours.
That's right.
So I'm going to have this incredible water. I'm going to have coffee because now it's okay.
It's okay.
They actually had the audacity to list 7 or 8 diseases that drinking
Yes.
up to 5 cups of coffee
right.
a day will prevent. I mean, it's like crazy. I mean, you really could lose your
It
mind.
makes Ken very happy.
I
Very
say
happy.
hallelujah.
But the
He loves
beauty of
coffee.
it is the coffee is going to taste completely different.
It does. It tastes.
because of your water.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, the water cooler, I think that's what you called it for
Yes.
the rock concert venues, and also for stores, for restaurants. You have that
Yes,
kind
we
of
have
an
a
industrial.
restaurant machine,
Talk
which is
about
very
that.
important. Well, the restaurant machine helps because, you know, in restaurants, you don't want to be drinking a glass that's all spotted and that has a lot of calcium deposits on it. So this machine, of course, eliminates all of that, and it gives them the healthiest water.
Wait, this water,
Yes.
when people have a whole home system, this water also means that they're not going to have calcium deposits on all their
That's
glassware.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, an important thing, the very first thing, we have the hardest, I don't have to tell you this, we have the hardest water in the country here in California. And it literally eats, one of the reasons that our equipment lasts so long is the very first thing we do with our machines is we address the hardness issue. And we can actually we can soften the water without salt and without chemicals. There's different filter medias, again, that are available that will remove all that hardness.
Is their hair still going to be squeaky clean? Because I know when you take away the hard water, it doesn't squeak, right, in the shower?
Well, you know, the soft water, some people like that real slippery feeling. Now, you're not going to get that slippery feeling with our systems, but you're going to remove all those minerals, all that hardness.
I don't like that slippery feeling.
So most people don't. I don't.
It's
I don't
very
either.
strange.
Yeah.
It's like strange.
So, and you know, in bathing, in drinking softened water is not healthy. So we have organic softening methodologies that remove all that, and that's real important because it makes our equipment last a lot longer.
So you're just removing the toxins and the poisons.
And the hardness, and the water hardness. We address that. The first cartridge in all of our systems addresses the hardness issue, removes the hardness from the water, and that makes the whole system perform better and last longer.
Huh. So and that's why you can say lifetime.
Yes.
But the first one is for hardness.
We have
do you have descriptions of what the
Well,
other
actually, the
3 or 4?
cartridges there's 4 cartridges in this unit, but each cartridge has 2 or 3 or 4 different medias. We
Like-
actually
yeah,
we
you
actually
can see
put
the color.
different medias to address, but in all of our systems, the first cartridge has an anti-scalant media that will remove the hardness.
Wow.
And that's really important because if we didn't do that, it would actually plug up all these cartridges and make the system just not last longer. And you know, we tell all of our clients, this system, you're going to will this to your children because you know that's what we're all about is sustainability and giving people real value for their money.
Wow.
And now, back to your question, Susan, about the water cooler, because this excites me because we go into a company and we were amazed at the amount of bottled water they go through.
Yes.
And so we put these machines in a advertising firm in Los Angeles, and we asked them to do the metrics for us, just so they could they knew exactly what they had been spending on water. And so the first year, the systems cost $2,800 or $2,900, and they're really cool. You know how people used to stand around the water cooler and have,
Yes.
that you would do that with these, because they have hot water, so people are getting tea and putting coffee and putting hot water on
Wow.
it, and they're getting cold water, and they're getting, if they want, room temperature water. So people kind of tend to cluster here and gather. But the cost on these, they cost the $2,800, $2,900 for the purchase. They saved in the first year $3,000 on what
That's
formerly been
amazingly
their bottled
inexpensive.
water cost.
I mean, that's amazing.
It panned out, and then the second year they're paying 10 cents a gallon, which is what you pay when this system is paid down. This system
Wow.
costs you, when it's amortized over the months, 57 cents a gallon to start. By the second year, you're paying 10 cents a gallon.
Right.
Now, when I found this out, of course, I refused to buy any plastic bottled water. It wasn't just that the plastic was unhealthy and leaching. It was, and the waste. It was that it was heavy for me to carry.
Sure.
And didn't have to pay $6.40 for a gallon. Most of us will drink a half a gallon a day. We figure when we do our metrics on 2 people, 1 gallon a day. So that's how we know that it's 57 cents the first year and 10 cents after that.
Fantastic.
It's amazing. I mean, we have to save money where we can today and provide health for ourselves and drink the most healthful organic water we can buy. And so if people just get this one thing from the show, there is such a thing as pure organic water. You can return water to its original state of purity. That is absolutely possible. That is what Ken Guyan is dedicated to, and that is the mission of any water technology expert as he is, because there's just so many contaminants and pollutants that are causing us so many physical problems, and we can't even identify half of them. They're coming out with how many new chemicals a year?
200.
200 new chemicals a year. Like we don't have enough problems dealing with all the chemicals that are already on the planet and in our food and in our drugs and in our water.
Yeah, and the first responsibility of any quality company is to purify the water, and that's the first responsibility. And then, as far as we're concerned, the second most important thing is to restructure that water so it's back the way water used to be. It's interesting. I tell people that have health issues, I say, whatever you're drinking, stop drinking that. If it's tea, soda, coffee, alcohol, drink our perfect water for a few months, and I'll guarantee you're going to feel better. And I mean, there's people that aren't even drinking water today. Particularly, it worries me with the kids today. I mean, they're drinking everything but water, and that's
Well, I'm very excited that you're talking to somebody about India, actually somebody I know quite well. Because when I was going to India in the 70s, my doctor who was giving me the gamma globulin shots had been stationed there in World War II. And he said, well, Susan, I want you to be sure, only drink beer.
Yes.
And this guy was a friend of my father's,
Oh.
and I'm like 20-something. I said, doctor, I really don't,
beer.
see myself drinking beer. But as we think about this now, think of the difference in tourism throughout India if you can make an arrangement and provide them with pure water. Because so many people that I know, and I'm the biggest fan of India, I've been there 57 times, loved it, no place like it. But there are a lot of people I cannot motivate to go because of the water. That's the only thing.
The viruses, the bacteria.
That's right. So this, if you can make this arrangement, the gift that this is, not only to India, but to tourists around the world, because there's no place like India.
Well, it's interesting. We actually have a travel kit that you can take with you that'll purify the water.
Which includes the $49 BioStick.
It includes the BioStick and a small pump-type filter. And I was just in Beijing, and I'm in a 5-star hotel, and right on the sink it says, "Don't drink the water."
Yeah.
And there was 1 bottle of water in the room, and fortunately I had my travel kit, and I filled the sink with water, and I purified it, and I just put the fresh water, my purified water, in my bottle, and I was okay.
Tell us about the BioPump, the personal size
So
one.
actually, this is everybody in our company wants me to quit inventing new things, but I can't stop. But
Please
a lot of
don't.
I,
Please don't.
I got it when I was in China that the only thing you can drink there is bottled water, and I don't know, but I don't trust.
And that's iffy too.
Yeah, that's pretty
and
iffy
iffy-
too.
and it's
So,
iffy too.
so when you're traveling, or if you're traveling, I would highly recommend that you take one of our travel kits with you, and it'll nano purify the water. It's a very small package. We're designing the packaging now, and then once you purify that water, you drop BioStick in, and then you've got healthy, restructured, purified water. And I think I haven't been to India, but I've heard a lot of the stories. And
But you have to go soon, and it's
I-
fabulous
yeah.
if you've got your
Yeah.
whole travel kit with you and your
Definitely.
BioStick.
Definitely.
Because
yes.
you know what's so fascinating in India? The people who are native, and I don't mean the wealthy people, but the people who are middle class or below that, they don't even put the bottle of the water to their mouth.
Yes.
They pour it into their mouths from some distance because they're smart enough to know whatever has happened to the top of that bottle. Even if they opened it themselves,
Yeah.
they don't have any
That's
confidence
pretty
in
scary.
it. So, you know, bringing clean water to a country like this, particularly now when they're on the verge of a major, wonderful transition because of the new government. You know, this can change everything, as it can for Mexico. How many of us who've been to Mexico and loved it, but just really hated the whole issue with water and got so sick?
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
So this is huge. Now we have 1 minute and a little bit more. So is there anything that we didn't tell people that you really want to tell them?
Well, I think, you know, the most important message today is that you can produce your own water in your own home for significantly less money than purchasing water at the store. And more importantly than that, you can actually produce really, really healthy water the way it used to be, and that's mineralized, ionized, and richly antioxidant water. In fact, it's interesting, most people can relate to green tea being highly antioxidant, and we have a very sophisticated piece of testing equipment called an oxidation reduction potential meter. We can actually test the water to show how antioxidant it is. For instance, we know green tea has you want a negative number, has a negative.
And you got to leave me about 27 seconds
okay.
to
You have
say goodbye.
You have negative.
10 more seconds.
Yeah. Anyway, you can produce healthy water and take it home and just enjoy it.
And you can also test whether that green tea that we've been force feeding ourselves is worth the trouble.
Yes.
That's an interesting thing. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to have them back, and now we can
Yeah.
learn about all the things that we've been doing that don't make any sense at all, and that this is the only thing. Look at this. I drank my whole glass of water. That's a first. That's a first in 10 years, by the way. Okay. So I just want to thank all of you. I want to thank you, Ken and Kristen, from Perfect Water Worldwide. I mean, just really a remarkable show. You're both so, just what you're doing is so important. And you do it in such a lighthearted and, you know, you're a pleasure. What I want to say is you're a pleasure to have both of you as guests.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you're welcome. So you have to come back. We need the next level. So this is, you know, this is Water 101.
Yes.
You know, we'll have the next. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, Mark. And thank you, Tyler. And thank you, TV Santa Barbara.